Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
That's sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom Yona Forest de Bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol din fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni baraka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome to the brunch. I'm Lamin Cham. This is Fatou Live. Our weekly look at current affairs today looks at the major stories of the week. We will revisit the leaked document from State House about which much has been said. We also discuss the Salaji demolitions, what the state and what the victims have said about those demolitions in Salaji. We will also discuss the landmark ruling in the Supreme Court which deals with local government matters. All this will be on the brunch today. With me in the studio on the left is the Honorable Momodou, academician and politician, a professor who has been hibernating, I'm sure, on academic work, no doubt. Professor, you will update us on that. Welcome back once again.
Thank you.
Good. And then on my right is, of course, lawyer Lamin J. Darboe. Should I use Esquire as they use?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. J. Darboe, a prominent Gambian legal luminary who we will ask for his perceptions on some of the things I have already outlined in the introduction. Gentlemen, welcome to the brunch. Since we have the senior lawyer, let's go with matters legal. Last week, or actually was it not, in fact, last week now, the Supreme Court, among the decisions it made was that in reaction to the KMC suit, KMC being the Carnifid Municipal Council suit, challenging the legality of the forceful restoration or reinstatement of a former CEO of KMC, Senator Martin, the Supreme Court have granted the praise of the Carnifid Municipal Council by stating that that action by the minister and the Inspector General of Police, and the Attorney General, so to speak, is illegal. That this Carnifid Municipal Council should have, under the Constitution, a degree, and in fact it says a high degree of autonomy in running matters that are related to their mandate as local governments. The decision came and was greeted naturally, with a lot of commendation from people who believe that there should be a limitation in the powers of the central government over local government matters. But then, of course, it all boils down to the background that that municipality and a few others have been run by opposition-led politicians. So many people said that, in fact, was that motivated the action and not so much as the need or maybe a mandate to exercise administrative oversight. So we will try as much as possible to give our perspectives on the interpretation and the suit by the Supreme Court. Mr. Darboe, welcome to the brunch.
Thank you very much.
All right, being the experts in law in the studio here, what do you understand? Because you have actually in the past spoken out strongly against what you saw was government interference in local government matters. So you must be quite said you vindicated in that position by the Supreme Court decision.
It was a landmark decision. Landmark not in the sense that it favored Carnifid Municipal Council, but that it gives us a delineation of the different functions between central government and the local authorities. Some people believe that the central government can do whatever it likes. They accept, most of the people, both the doctrine and the constitutional position on separating power between the legislative arm of government, the executive arm of government, and the judiciary, that is the courts. They accept that. But some don't understand that a local authority can be autonomous of the central government. Yes, even people who would ordinarily have, under normal circumstances, said that we need to restrain government power. Some of them said, no, the government should have overall control over the local authorities. So there were disputes there, people on different sides. And so obviously now that dispute is over. The Supreme Court spoke, and what it said was the absolute truth. It is the law. Nobody can defy that position anymore because there is nowhere to go. It's the last court in the country. When it comes to interpreting the Constitution, if it is a different kind of dispute, it probably would have started somewhere and worked its way all the way to the Supreme Court. But it came before the Supreme Court as an interpretation matter. What is the demarcations in terms of authority between the central government and the local government authorities? And it spoke very, very clearly. The Supreme Court should be commended for that. Now, we use landmark very carelessly sometimes in our discussions, but this one is a landmark.
It's a landmark. Okay,
yes.
Trying to understand it, you said it's not just confined to the problem of forcing Senator Martin, CEO, as CEO of, when he was actually suspended by the local government authority, the council and the mayor. He said it doesn't stop there. It tells us where the central government can stop.
Yes.
In matters of local government affairs.
Yes.
For example, does it in any way mean that from henceforth the local governments will have the autonomy to appoint their own administrative staff, as it's the case which they have been actually yearning for?
Absolutely. But that was the position I argued. And the article was published by your outlet, The Standard. Yes. I did say that the so-called Local Government Service Commission is unlawful, it is unconstitutional. There is no provision for it, insofar as the aim is to control local government authorities in their staffing and other administrative matters. Yeah, you cannot do that. The Constitution spoke very clearly. The local councils can appoint their administrative staff, and that those administrative staff are answerable to nobody other than the local authority. So I know government, sometimes people can be very busy and they are not looking at the letter of the law. They are also not looking at favorably at any limitation on their authority. They don't like that. But the fact is, this is very clear. The matter should not have gone to court. The trigger event should not have taken place. That is the forceful reinstallation of Senator Martin at the Carnifing Municipal Council. That was an outrageous conduct by the Ministry of Local Government. It shouldn't have done it. Yes.
Okay. Now, there are remnants of problems, existing between the local governments, for example, this council and other local governments, between them and the central government. For example, they have spoken about the non-payment of, subvention from the government. In the KMC, they alleged that they wanted to embark on a $300 million road project, and the government and the NRA allegedly torpedoed that project, through red tape and all sort of things. They believe that the government is not sincere when they said they are working with the local councils, and then it all boiled down to the fact that the central government, led by President Barrow and maybe the Minister for Local Government, are using allegedly politics, because they wouldn't accommodate the opposition-led councils. So they said this is the root and branch, of this problem. How, in your view, can this interpretation by the Supreme Court get to solve this problem?
Well, the problem is solved. The problem is solved. What is left is implementation. Government need to withdraw straight away from interfering in local government affairs. I did mention that the governors and the executive coordinators, as far as their role is to interfere in local administration are also unconstitutional. Yes, they can be in the regions, do what the government wants. I don't know how you can do that without liaising with the local authorities, but part of it can be done, even if it is just going and conversing for support for the president. That can be done. But the minute you want to intervene directly in how the councils are run, then you are infringing on the territory of the local authorities. You are entering forbidden territory. You shouldn't do it. I think as to how it can be solved, obviously government needs to know that this is not about who is in the council today, in terms of party, in terms of who is mayor or who is chairperson. Yes. At the end of the day, any success overall in this country will go back to the president. Yes. So the president needs to accept that this is a constitutional demarcation. Yes. Whether he likes it or not, if he wants to abide by the law, then it's not a big deal. At the end of the day, he's the head of state. He should be concerned with national matters, about his legacy, how he can build this relationship. The Local Government Act 2002 must comply conclusively with Section 193 and 194 of the Constitution, because these are entrenched provisions. That is the reason why the former president didn't do anything in terms of amending those provisions of the Constitution. If he could, he would have realized what happened and he would have amended them, but he didn't. But of course, when he was in government, it would be very difficult for anybody to challenge those things. Yes, you can lose your position, you can go to prison, anything can happen to you. So people were afraid. You're right. The fact that Barrow is not doing that, His Excellency President Barrow is not doing that, means that people now have an opportunity to test the law.
Nice.
Yes, and that opportunity came at the excessive behavior of the Ministry of Local Government and Lands. When Senator Martin was sent on administrative leave, and they went to the KMC, broke down their doors, and forcefully said she should go back. Yes. Yeah.
I understand what you said that these laws are entrenched clauses, which means they are not easily changeable.
No,
you can't do it without going to
yes.
referenda or whatsoever.
Absolutely.
So Jammeh could not change them. But nonetheless, nobody was bold enough at the time because of the dictatorial tendency nature of the regime to challenge it in courts, because even the courts were not seem to be independent. Now, the new government inherited these things, but since they cannot be dictatorial or autocratic, people are free now to go to courts to have these things interpreted. And the president will have no choice but to let the courts decide independently. And that's what happened in this case.
Yes, that's what happened.
So government has no choice now but to do exactly what the court decides, which is to free of hand in the internal administration of the local governments.
Absolutely.
Basically, this is what you say.
Yes, that's what I said, and that's what the Supreme Court decision said. Yes. So whatever you do, whatever legislation you bring along, must comply with sections 193 and 194 of the Constitution.
Which gives autonomy.
Yes, because that is the parent source. So you cannot use legislation to destroy the character of 193 and 194 of the Constitution. That cannot take place. Yes.
All right.
That cannot take place.
Okay, we will go to Professor Momodou. Well, you've been hibernating, like I said. I'm sure you've been pursuing some academic work or not. But let me just take you straight into this topic as it is just bringing the aim. What do you make of this decision?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure being here. Greetings to my co-panelist, Lawyer Darboe. Not the Lawyer Darboe of UDP.
That's why they use J Darboe most of the time. And it's Lamin, the other one is Hussein.
Yes, Lawyer J Darboe.
Yeah. That's why where I have a need to say, to mention him in any article, I say J Darboe.
J Darboe.
Because if Lawyer J Darboe.
Okay. So that was a brilliant intervention. He talked about the judicial aspect, and for us, we are politicians, analysts, so we need to talk about the the political aspect.
Yes.
And when talking about this political aspect also, you have to underline the fact that, this shows that there was a film director who was there trying to direct things.
Okay.
That means the KMC and the Minister of Land, just have to look at the leadership who is in KMC. It's Talib.
Yeah.
Talib was really growing influence at that time. So the government, needed to do, something, just to show their strength. And we've seen it through that Hollywood burglary, scene.
You call it a Hollywood?
A Hollywood style of burglary, which is even a lesson to burglars, so trying to show them how to, how to forcefully enter, and destroy a door, which was definitely not, which was uncalled for. So today, credit goes to the judiciary. It means that the Gambia, we should be proud of our democracy, and we have to continue guiding that democracy. And we need strong lawyers, we need strong magistrates, and we need a functioning court, especially the High Court, because that's where everything happens. So it is important for President Barrow to know that you cannot interfere in such things, because the law is very clear, as lawyer Darboe just said it. So what he can do is just to try to comply with the government of the day. Before we said there was a dictatorship under Jammeh, but that didn't happen. Maybe it was due to the fact that also those area councils or municipalities were under him, because it was his party.
That's right. That's another.
It was his party. It was his party.
Control all over.
So he had already control. So there is.
I think except perhaps Banjul, where at some point there was an independent candidate, Salaji. Apart from that, most of the councils were under the.
Yeah. So it was always it was always controllable.
That's
by him. So, but now is the time. Post Jammeh, it is a democratic era. It is the time that we would be seeing.
And Momodou and Ablai Ba. Is it Ablai Ba?
Ablai Ba was there.
Also came on independent in Banjul. Apart from those areas, most of the time it were under the APRs.
That's it. So after post-dictatorship, this is the time where, you test your real democracy. Certain things happen, and then it depends on how you intervene. How you deal with it, because this thing didn't happen before. It happens now. We've seen that, the president is just trying, or the president or the government, because it's a whole team, who are trying to intervene, and then the judiciary says, stop. You cannot do this because we have a democratic country. So
looking forward, how
it's really laudable.
Like you said, looking forward, how do you think the relations between the council and the central government would be?
Yeah.
Do you see a change of heart now on the part of the central government in allowing the, let's say, carrying out their obligations in their relationship with the local government?
Yeah. Before, talking about that, I have to also, mention that I do not condone any corruption act, any poor governance, or anything that will undermine the KMC or the government or the council. So if there is anything that is not clear, it should be made clear to the public. The public needs to know what exactly is happening there, whether there was malfunctioning, whether there was corruption scandal or anything. That needs to be clear.
You mean having a freedom, autonomy to run your affairs does not mean that you have a license now to do anything and nobody will watch.
Yes. For that one, I cannot condone that. But what I can say is, in this case, the president, as I just said, he should try to forge a good relationship with the council, because if the councils, they are there, they are closer to the people, that's why we call it local government. People who are administering, who are working directly with the population. So they need to be empowered. They need to be given what they are supposed to be given, so that they could deliver. Exactly. Because if they fail also, if the local government fail, they could say, oh, it is the government that is not.
And if they succeed.
That is not.
The president's attitude has always been that, yes, they may be local government, but they are government. They are part of the government. So I have a role to oversee.
Yes.
But the problem also is that how to stop.
Just not forget about the political aspect. The political aspect that was on the ballot, and the people, the people of Kanifing had decided that they wanted to re-elect the Mayor Talib Bensouda based on what he did previously. So, and then now, he just has he just need to accept that in good faith. And try to collaborate with all the opposition mayors or chairman persons, to give them, what is supposed to what they are supposed to be given.
For example, and I think what he said, the implications and the interpretation of this decision, we hope can change seriously. Like in Basse Area Council, when it was under opposition control, we said the government refused to let them administer the markets, and markets always come under local governments. We saw that the Brikama Area Council, also controlled by oppositioners, accused the government of running a political vendetta, using government machinery to run what they thought was a vendetta against them because they are opposition. In terms of this Operation Clear, the road that the chairman alleged have, overstepped their mandates. So all those are issues we hope that is the interpretation by the Supreme Court, Mr. Darboe, can address.
Because
are you hoping?
Just to emphasize something there, you've seen recently he was received by the director of the Serakunda market.
Who was
Momodou, the president?
When he went there.
Yeah, when he went there.
Yes.
And it is on the.
That's came.
That's came.
Yeah, he spoke there that his government will work with the councils.
We've seen it previously.
In terms
also,
of markets.
when there is a cleansing exercise within the Kanifing administrative area, the mayor would come out and then receive him. So if they are able to do that, receive him, welcome him, in good faith, he should also not try to delay anything that
he did say
that is supposed to.
On his latest, on his last tour of the markets, he did say that the government should work with the councils to address the market.
Exactly.
That's a good development. Although the mayors were very skeptical about whether he actually means yes. I followed that actually. Okay, Mr. Darboe, still on this Supreme Court interpretation. You said the implication is that the government should now know its limitations. Given that there's a commission of inquiry that is going on, that has looked at all the councils, and I think there except one or two now to go. I don't know, I'm not sure. So the revelations, allegations of improper financial management, etc. Now, this we saw that this is what members of the central government and supporters of the governing party, who are generally critical of the mayors that are from the opposition party, these are some of the things they are using. We saw the president's Presidential Affairs Minister, saying that the revelations in the commission is what the opposition UDP is trying to use to get the people fooled, not to be following that. So these are the weapons in the hands of the central government to say, well, they said we shouldn't interfere, but should we let the on the corruption or on the mismanagement of funds?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because you did say in response to the professor that autonomy shouldn't mean doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
And that is right. In fact, that is where the commissions of inquiry comes in. Because under the Constitution, from Section 200, but particularly 200, the President has authority to set a commission of inquiry. And that effectively covers almost all of government. Yes. So that is what he's doing. So as far as the commission of inquiry is concerned, let us say that is his oversight. Yes. To say, okay.
The auditors have found out that this thing's terribly wrong, and I have to look into it.
Absolutely. So he has set a presidential commission of inquiry, and that is what he set up. Yes, chaired by Baba. Yes. So that is fine. That is within the mandate of the president. That is his oversight, and it's a very powerful oversight instrument. Going forward, the councils would be very, very careful.
Yes.
Obviously,
if there is any lesson now, anybody should learn, both from this commission and the auditor, the publication of the Auditor General's reports, because these were very important.
Yes.
At least the good thing about them is public officials will now be careful.
Yes.
Because that's what I have always argued. When they said, well, maybe the press is over publicizing the audit reports and trying to sensationalize. I said, well, the thing is, these things should have been publicized long time ago.
Absolutely.
If a public official knows that, well, the audit query may end up in the newspapers, then he will be careful. But when the audit query is come over and itself, until another next query itself in the paper, there will be improvement. But if they know that this query can end up in public knowledge, they will be embarrassed and they will be careful next time.
Absolutely.
So that's why this commission inquiry and this auditor's report publication, it served to kind of prick the conscience of the public officials managing our finance. Say, look, if I do these things and the auditor queries, tomorrow the newspapers is going to write about it, radios will talk about it, and I'll be embarrassed. Then it will help in checking them. That is a good thing about this.
But government must also look at the law governing specific areas. KM, when this issue came before Senator Martin was forcefully reinstated, they set up a commission of inquiry.
Yes.
But the minister had no mandate under the law to set up a commission of inquiry.
Didn't they say even that inquiry's outcome was rejected by the ministry itself?
Well, actually, the inquiry didn't even take place. Momodou Dimbalo, now principal state counsel, was the one who was supposed to be the lead counsel in that. But it collapsed. It didn't go because this was a ministerial commission of inquiry, and that is supposed to be a limited internal one. But if you are setting up a commission of inquiry under Section 200 of the Constitution, only the president has that mandate. I was consulted about it. I told them the minister has no right to set up a commission of inquiry. They nevertheless went.
It didn't go through.
Yes, but it was pulped. It didn't go through. Yes, so they need to look at the law. If you are given a ministerial position, you have to look at your brief. You need to understand what you can do and what you cannot do.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's now change topic now, and this may have to do with the law. And Professor, you can you heard about the much. You must have talked about the much talk about leaked State House letter to the Minister of Finance requesting for per diems, 3.6 million for per diems for security and other staff, public officials supposedly to escort the mom of the president for medical checkup in Dhaka. Government officials, including the Minister for Presidential Affairs, was here last week, and he tried to say that there is no question of illegitimate expenditure because the president's family does include his parents. That's what he said. And that only 1.4 of that money was actually used in that trip. The particular trip, medical, only 1.4 was used. The rest were used for other missions. Just that the request was collectively done, and that brought the total to 3.6. But the fundamental issue that he tried and other ministers to convince the public are, one, is it definitely lawful to consider the president's family to include his parents? Many people are with the assumption that the president's family is himself, his spouses, and children. But according to the minister, given our African tradition, and he said even in English law, a parent of a public official like the president is entitled to public expenditure one way or the other. So that's been the argument.
So did he cite the English law authorities that he was relying on?
Yes, if I can remember, and I think I still have a correspondence from him on the issue, and he seems to be saying that, okay, this is his observation. He said even in British law, a parent is legally and unquestionably considered your family. And here is how it's reorganized, the legal definition. He said in British statutes and legal documents routinely define family to include parents, children, and spouses at a minimum. For example, the Children Act 1989 refers to a child's family members as including parents. In immigration law, family members often include parents, especially in dependent and reunification cases. Employment and bereavement laws, example, time off for family emergencies, these include parents as close family. And number two, common legal context, inheritance law. Parents are recognized as next of kin if someone dies without a will and has no spouse or children. And family law proceedings also, custody, parental responsibility, and custodianship, all assume a parent is a co-family member. He said also housing law, parents and children are considered a single family unit when applying for housing. In conclusion, yes, in British law, one's parent is part of one's family by both common understanding and legal definition. These are examples, UK legal cases he pointed out. And by virtue of this, according to him, the president's mother is part of his family and therefore entitled to this.
The president's mother is part of his family. Mm-hmm. But we are looking at family in the context of the president's children and his spouses. Mm-hmm. That is the nuclear family. Yes. Now, the Minister for Presidential Affairs should know very well that if that is what they want, they should take us out of the gray area where we are right now, because that is where we are. It's a gray area. Mm-hmm. Yes. He didn't point you to any authority in the Gambia, whether constitutional, legislation or secondary legislation. He didn't do that, like regulations and things like that. Before you go to British law, and even there he's talking about immigration and inheritance and other things. We are talking here about matters at the heart of government. So that is a very important issue. Yes. That needs not be left in the gray area it is. Mm-hmm. So there must be some kind of authority that the government can rely on.
I asked him specifically to come with a provision in the laws that says president's family, including his mother. But he asked me also in turn where it was stated that it's not there. So I couldn't provide. I don't know who.
No. You are not in government.
Yes.
We are dealing in a rule of law climate. Of course, the president and his government, and obviously you cannot dispute that too much, that there is the rule of law in the Gambia. Now, if that is the case, we shouldn't be operating opaquely in the dark as far as key issues like these are concerned.
Okay.
It is not for you to produce it. It is for the government to defend it. And in defending it, government is under an obligation to point us to a law stating that the president's parents are part of his family.
Yes.
Now, that is the legal area. I mean, when you told me yesterday that you want me to talk about this,
Yes.
I assigned my staff to assist me with the research.
Yes.
Ibrahim Chati, my researcher and administrator, and two of my people barristers, Counsel Jara Jeng and Counsel Fatou Bondi. So they all chipped in and did some research around it. Now, as far as I am concerned, even though I'll say the government, now that it is in this problem, should think about it and craft a policy. Yeah, it's a policy that the government, the country would be educated about, so that when it happens tomorrow, the finger pointing would be limited.
Okay.
Now, my staff pointed out the fact that there is no legislation across Africa where these things are concerned.
Okay.
But they did point me out to what this government and His Excellency President Barrow are saying, that, part of our culture is imported into administration. And of course, a president's mother, say the president has no money to provide private treatment for his mother. Yes, obviously the prestige of his office is such that it is not totally unreasonable for the country, the government in this case, to chip in as far as the treatment of the president's mother is concerned. For example, the authorities they gave me, say in Nigeria, when President Buhari was in government, he used to go to London. And of course, his mother also benefited. Now, if you go to Zimbabwe, the mother, when Robin Mugabe was there, also his mother benefited from these things. From state? Yes, from state funds. Okay. So if you go to places like Angola, the parents of, say, for example, Eduardo dos Santos, his mother, father also benefited in hospitals in Spain and Portugal. Okay. Equatorial Guinea, the same thing, Gabon. So the culture is there.
So there is perhaps more cases is right, and that in our context, it is right that the mother of the president is part of his plan.
Well, they need to look at it. The rule of law wants certainty. That is the fundamental driver, the fundamental principle of the rule of law is certainty. People need to know. If people know there is legislation on this, presidential parents, obviously, the prestige, we wouldn't want the parent of our president to be stuck in here. But people can say, well, the president didn't enhance our, our health sector to an extent that not only his parents, but other parents can also benefit.
I said, well, no matter how qualitative we have, there will always be issues that cannot be solved here. Because it is in every country, they seek medical advice or assistance elsewhere because they don't have the solution to all the ailments that people in their country might encounter.
Well, it is an argument, but again, that should be an argument that a senior member of government should advance, because the fact is, there is no option. If the president feels his mother has to go out, then his mother has to go out. Mr. Caesar knows very well that the health facilities in this country are in a deplorable state. He knows that. Yeah, so it's not a question of...
He pointed out that the government is doing very well by putting up infrastructures, even though I challenged him that infrastructure doesn't cure people. But he said, it is the starting. You must have a facility before you could get medicines and doctors in there.
Well, in this case, we are dealing not with infrastructures in that respect. What we want are hospitals that can cater for at least 90-95% of ailments that Gambian people suffer from. But having said it all, I wouldn't make a big fuss about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Going forward is a lesson. The president and his government can think about it. Yes, it would be the same for the country itself to say, no, the president's mother should not get treatment when that treatment is not available in the country. Yeah. So again, when we come back to who is that family, then certainly the spouses and children, there is no doubt about it.
Given the fact that your research showed that, I mean, the same thing happens in Zimbabwe, in Angola, in Gabon, and many other places. So perhaps the minister is right that, well, in our African context, even if you put the arguments he put up from British law, even in our own context, we can't count out the president's murder.
Well, the arguments under British law are misguided. I did a lot of immigration work when I was in the UK. Your main family would be your wife and your children.
Yeah,
that is the main family. When you want to bring your mother or your father into the UK, then the procedures are different.
Okay.
Yes, the procedures are different. The thing about wills and other things, or intestate when there is no will, well, obviously, if there is no wife, there is no children. Even under Islamic law, you know, you can go down the family tree until you find somebody who can inherit that person. So yes, I would, in deference to the position of President of the Republic, I wouldn't argue against his mother, the president's mother, getting medical treatment on the state, but they need to rationalize it and put it on a footing that can be acceptable to the people. We shouldn't be surprised about these things. It is not in law. There is no question about that. Our research stated that. But you're talking about if it is happening in other countries. Well, all of those countries that we mentioned, they're either semi-democracies or dictatorships. So it doesn't matter. You take no permission from anybody. You want your mother to fly to London, your mother flies to London on the state. Yeah, maybe on a private plane, if you can afford that.
Well, as the minister himself said, if other countries can help our president's mom to, you know, with treatment, why can't we do in the Gambia? Professor, you must have been following this dispute. What is your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, we have to admit that there is a revolution going on in the Gambia, just as it was in the time of President Jammeh. In the latter part of President Jammeh's administration, there used to be similar things happening.
Really?
Leakage. Yeah.
Oh, in fact, we will address the government's reaction to the leaking. We will come to that.
So there used to be a leakage.
You mean during the we remember Freedom newspaper.
Every time, when Jammeh was complaining that whenever he discusses something, you know, inside, in the next minute,
ended up in public.
You know, it is in the public. So, something also is happening because people are seeing something. Civil servants are seeing things that they don't like, and they want to share it to the public. That is whistleblowing.
Yes,
you know, it is an international thing. You've heard of Edward Snowden.
Yes,
and yes, and many others who always try to put something in public consumption because of they think that is not right.
So you think this the leaking of this state house later maybe done by somebody who thought it's wrong, and then he said maybe I should make it public?
Yes, that's malgovernance. That is lack of transparency. That is also trying to there is no, as he says, there is no interpretation. There is no interpretation concerning that law. Okay, and I think it should be interpreted. Our lawmakers
somebody could
should try to submit
categorically the president's family
and explain it further. To explain it further so that it could be clear, because
because we may have a much younger president who may have all his parents alive.
Exactly. So like the examples that you are giving,
people like you.
Yeah. So unfortunately my parents are late.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, but we may have somebody who's very young and may have his parents.
So
and somebody said, okay. What about the parent of Yaya?
I mean, lived here for 22 years. We've never heard of that. So
no, but definitely his mother was getting treatment everywhere.
Yeah, but we've never heard him left the country.
He did not even conceive the decency of requesting official anybody.
Yes, but whatever there was leaking, of similar things, they would have made it public, because at the latter part, as I said, at the latter part of Jammeh's regime, similar things occurred.
Yeah.
So now we have to ask the question: why is this occurring? Why are they doing it? Is it that because they are against the president, or is it because it is something that is done that is not supposed to be done? So these are the questions that we have to ask. So in taking this as a case in point, we would see that it is morally not correct. It is morally not correct, seeing that the president himself can do this. He has the means to do it
from his own money.
From his own money.
Even morally, it's not comfortable.
Yes.
Or palatable morally. For later requesting funding.
Let's not even use the law that permits it. But let us think about its morality. I think that is very important for us to reflect upon, and also the context of the country right now. It shows that, as lawyer says, it shows that it is a failure in our medical system. It is a failure that when you are sick in this country, you cannot, for you to have a good care, you need to travel outside. You need to go to abroad, to receive normal medications which were even supposed to be done here. So that is a failure. That is a sign of failure, and this is what those civil servants who did this. This is what they are denouncing.
Exposing.
This is what they are denouncing. Okay, they are also denouncing the fact that 3.6 million was allocated specifically to the president's mother, because
well, the minister said that not all that money was for that trip.
Yeah, but according to the report, according to the memo,
you said it was a collective request,
but it's not clear. It's not clear what we could, we could only comment on based on what we see.
Yeah.
Based on the information that is in that memo, it shows that 3.6 million was used for her medical bill.
The details may be in the other pages that are not shown.
Yeah,
but the minister is trying to say
only
1.4.
We cannot agree on something.
4 had been spent on this particular.
Yes, we cannot agree on something that is not on this.
Maybe the guy who deliberately left that out.
Yeah, but that was a clear. I think that was a clear memo. So what we have to learn from it also is that at this point in time, there are so many people who are sick and couldn't afford their medical bills. So seeing 3.6 million allocated to the president's mother at this juncture is something that
so you are arguing on the basis of morality.
Based on morality and based on the context.
On the context of the country at the moment.
At this moment. Okay. It shows that we are not giving priority to our health sector.
Good.
And you could also see that there was a bill, the presidential bill, that was passed, where they says the president is entitled to,
former presidents.
Yeah, former presidents are entitled to having medical visits abroad.
At least one, medical checkup.
So which means they have no intention. Which means it is not in their policy. Which means they don't care about our medical our health sector. They don't care about our medical system. Okay. This is what we could learn from that.
Good. And you dealt with an area that I was going to wrap this particular topic with Dr. Lawyer Jammeh, which is Darboe, which is the government's reaction to the leaking of the paper, of the document, they believe, one, in fact, in the word of the Minister of Presidential Affairs, he said it's a condemnable act as well as a sackable offense. And the police are now involved, according to him, to find out what caused this leak, to find out who did it. And they said there are going to be measures, to alleviate this kind of problem, like using technology, for example, to be able to know, where these people argue technologically it's possible that you could know where it was photographed, last photograph, or something like that. I don't know how. But the reaction has been that the government is angry about this and said they will find out who leaked this, because according to the GO and other government regulations, nobody should make public a letter that states specifically restricted that not all government business can be in the public interest or in the public domain. What do you make of that?
Well, I can understand the reaction of the government, obviously, but if you have issues of transparency, then you are going to have leakages. Yes. So the question is, even if general order says that you shouldn't distribute government communications, even if that is what the general order says, and that is what it says, but does it mean that you have to go all out to identify who did this and punish them? Whistleblowing.
Yeah, we're still on air.
Yeah, the whistleblowing blowers are protected. Yes, I don't know whether the courts would be that dynamic to say,
they are always ready to to come to the defense of that kind of people.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So you mean, how can they be protected? Do they have a law that they can rely on? That well, yes, I think this public interest. That's why I can protect.
Yes, public interest and things like that. And so the important thing is there will be leakages. There is no question about that. And the technology they're talking about is available. It's going to cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Do you want to? Yeah. Anybody who photograph a document, a government document, using the appropriate technology, can be identified.
If I take my telephone camera and take picture of this document here and share it around, you'll be able to know.
Yes, if the technology is available. It is available in other parts of the world. So if they have technology,
when they're talking about that.
Yeah. Well, before you pursue that kind of technology, why don't you just enhance general public administration in the country, make it more open, more transparent, and things like that? But leakages will continue regardless of what you do. Before people realize that there is such a technology, they would have committed the acts anyway.
Yes.
Yes, but the government's reaction should be more reflective going forward. Yes.
Okay, let's now go on to another thing that really dominated the headlines. That is the Salaji demolitions. Again, this will also have some moral, and legal, angles. Because people who may not even know the issues or are not even taking sides, they feel quite uncomfortable, seeing people's investments being brought down. They won't take an explanation like these people, disobeyed regulations and deliberately put up structures in government reserve areas, even after they have been told. That's what the government said at the press conference, and the Minister of Presidential Affairs was here. They're saying that, look, these people have been told and have got notices, yet they went ahead to put up structures. And now the only way to settle is by demolition. He said, of course, no government likes, especially in the light of politics, an election coming in just in 18 months' time. You have to have sites like that, scenes like that, government itself sanctioning total demolition of structures of individuals, and you have people crying, all caught on camera. So no government would like to do that, but they are pushed to the wall. There is nothing they could do. They have to protect reserve lands. They have to protect this. But the problem is, most of the victims have come out to display what supposed to be purported legal documents from the physical planning, giving them permission to build on that same piece of land. How do you reconcile that?
Reconcile on both moral and legal grounds. The government is 100% wrong.
Government is wrong?
Completely, 100%.
Okay.
The president is not a technician. He has legal advisors as well. So, if we are confronted with a situation like this, you tell the president the truth. Do you know that government has no authority to intervene in that part of Salaji because the land was never acquired as mandated by law from the traditional owners? Never.
What do you mean? Government just grab it?
Yes, government just grab it. I wrote an article about it about 4 or 5 years ago. Yes. Then Buba Sanyan was the permanent secretary.
Yeah.
Yes. So they came to Salaji, and in his explanation, he said government acquired the land because they told Del Carlo of Sokoto, and Del Carlo of Sokoto informed the people. There was no document to demonstrate that even Del Carlo was contacted about it. But now, even if there was a document, that is not the procedure to acquire land. You notify people in writing that government needs their land for public use. Yes. Go to Salaji today and see how many senior government officers you will find there.
Yes. It's been said that you have parliamentarians, ministers,
exactly.
permanent secretaries.
Yes. That shouldn't happen. If I'm a minister, I'll not build on land that was not properly acquired.
But how would they have known? If the government said this, government ought to know that you have to acquire the land from the traditional owners in a proper way. So you are talking to, in the first place, government itself's claim of owning that land was illegal.
Completely, it's false. There is no truth to it. Legally, they have no mandate to interfere with Salaji. It's a very sad situation. I'll give you a story. I've been involved in many land cases on those very Salaji lands. So, the Kabilo members of Kenebari, Sokoto Kenebari, they wrote to the IGP and the Minister of Interior to say that government officials were still in their lands. You know what the government did? It set up a panel managed by the Inspector General of Police and the Ministry of Lands.
When was it?
This was in 2019.
That's under the present government.
Yes. Then Buba Sanyan was the permanent secretary. Yes. So the Inspector General of Police instituted a panel. Now, I came to complain to you. You set up a panel. The report was produced. You refused to give me a copy of the report. But I have a copy of the report. I wrote to the Inspector General of Police to say that if you don't give us this report within 7 days, we'll take you to court. And this letter was written in 2022. They just ignored it. You know what the report said? The report said it is true. The government did not acquire this land from the citizens of, from the members of the Kabilo of Kenebari.
Even the police panel of investigation itself established that government did not acquire this land lawfully from the Kabilos of Kenebari in Sokoto.
Absolutely. But do you know what the report recommended? Okay, those members of the Kabilo who protest should be prosecuted for trespass. Even though it is true what they said, we did not acquire the land.
You mean in the same, report?
In the same report.
They established that government did not acquire this land lawfully.
Yes.
And again went out ironically to say that those who protest should be prosecuted.
For trespass.
For trespass.
Yes. Just imagine this kind of irresponsible behavior. Now, the president may be sitting at the State House, not knowing what...
He doesn't know all this?
No, well, he cannot do all of these things.
So he's not been told about the history.
You have your legal advisors, you have your technicians at the Ministry of Lands, that is the Department of Lands and the Department of Physical Planning. They are the technical departments there. So they have the ministry, and then you have the Attorney General, and then you have the President. So there is a possibility the President was misled. There is a possibility. But if I am the President, and these things happen, I'm going down to the bottom of that matter. You will not be able to fool me. I'll find out what happened.
Yeah, because it's serious.
Yes, this is extremely serious. Now, coming to the law. The law says government must first acquire land before it can do anything about it. But that is inferior legislation. Now I'll give you the constitutional version at Section 22. Section 22 said you can forcibly take land only for public use. Forcibly take land only for public use.
Oh, then
go to Salaji.
Maybe that's what the government did then.
No, hold on, Mr. Cham. You still have to acquire it. You write to the owner, say we need to build a university here. We need to build a hospital here. We need to build a police station here. We need to do whatever here for public use, not private, public. Some of those lands in Salaji are acquired by, I don't know how they acquired it, but senior government officers are on those lands.
As residents.
Yes, as residents.
That is true.
Yes. So this is saying just for public use. If you're going to take my land, you take it compulsorily for public use. Yes. Now, what public use are they going to use these lands for? Have they acquired the land in the first place?
They said they needed to put cemeteries, they needed to put gamtel, they needed to put, schools, they needed to put fire station, they needed to put police stations.
That is enough, Ms. Chan. I can tell you, I could tell you straight away, it's a complete lie. And that lie has been fabricated by the Ministry of Lands. Yes, fabricated by the Ministry of Lands with its technical departments, that is the Department of Lands and the Department of Physical Planning. It's a complete lie. Look, NAWEC is a private institution, a parastatal but private. GAMTEL, a private institution. Government has interest in it, but it is not public. In any case, even if it is public, in any case, even if NAWEC is public, you must first acquire the land from the owners of that land. Only then. I'm not talking to you about inferior legislation. This is Section 22 of the Constitution. You must first acquire it before you can put anything there. So physical planning officers would go. When they are doing their surveys, they will reserve particular areas. They'll say NAWEC. I was involved in one case that is concluded, so I can discuss that. Yes. How can you reserve land for GAMTEL when GAMTEL is not aware of it? How can you reserve land for NAWEC when NAWEC is not aware of it? How can you acquire land for a police station when the government is not aware of it? But even if they are aware of it, you must first acquire those lands from their owners, and only then can you use it for public purpose. I think the president needs to intervene here, set up a commission and ensure that people are compensated, everybody affected by this.
So if I understand you,
yes,
the government did not lawfully acquire this land as laid down by law. 2, even if they are allowed under the Constitution to forcibly take a land for public use, it should not be used for residential purposes?
No, it must first be acquired.
First acquired, even if it's forcibly.
Yes, even if government must acquire it first before it can use it.
Okay.
Now, if government says, okay, I need 100 by 100 in Salaji, you are going to 100 by 100 in Salaji today would be about maybe $10 million, is something like that, or more than that. You need to pay $10 million to the owners. Only then would government have a mandate to use it for the public purpose. But if, and the public purpose, it has nothing to do with NAWEC. Let them go and find their own land. Let Gantel go and find their own land. We're talking here about universities, public use.
Or maybe police stations.
Yes,
perhaps.
police stations.
Fire.
Hospitals.
Yes.
Those kinds of things. That
Primary.
is what. And when they are saying cemeteries, it's a lie. There are cemeteries there. There are cemeteries there.
Yeah.
The owners of those Salaji land gave them land for cemeteries. And then they came and took other lands and said they were cemeteries and they sold them.
Government?
Not government.
Physical.
Government employees. Yes. So here, what you are doing, the employees found themselves in a dilemma. Yes, they sold the lands, they lied to the government. Now the president, if he wants to uncover the truth, must set up a commission and so that citizens who are affected are adequately compensated. This is a travesty, it's an injustice of the highest order. And it is all rooted in lies and fabrication. Yes.
Honorable, I am totally baffled from these revelations the lawyer is talking about the situation in Salaji. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this is there is a total banditism, in that area at Salaji. What happened could only be qualified as banditism. It is a banditry act, because destroying people's hard-earned money, people who struggle, how difficult it is to build a house in this country. They were able to acquire, according to them. Some of them they also did a press conference. Yeah. It is just that it is the government, government voice is more, is louder. It's louder than theirs. They have better platform to talk, and then accuse them of so many things. But we've heard them too. Some of them they've acquired. They've displayed purportedly legal documents from the physical plan. Yes. So, who is on the wrong side? As the lawyer said, let us just try it. Let the government put on investigate a commission to investigate this matter. The president is aware. He's fully aware. Because a president,
at least aware of the destruction,
of the destruction from top to bottom. Because a president,
but he may not know, according to this man, he may not know the background.
A president,
he's totally aware of the destruction.
A president should be, having a daily briefing. He knows everything that is going on in the country. Every day, he's briefed about what is going on in the country. So he's aware. It is just lack of good leadership, from him and from the government, to destroy properties like this. And most of those people, they are the people from the diaspora. It's just like the president is just trying to have a tug of war, with the people of the diaspora. You mean people who might have supported their families? No, that's who are building in this country. They might be from the diaspora. Majority of them are the diaspora, are from the diaspora. And they are the ones who are building. They are building this, making this country beautiful. This country is not beautiful because of the roads that you see, because of the IAC road, but it is because people are elevating. They are building high-rise buildings. Along the Bruford Heights, along the
so what do you
Senegambe areas.
What do you think should be done?
Yes. So
president should look at this.
Let a commission be set to investigate this matter.
But the government said there will be more demolitions in Yunduman.
No, they should
and other places.
They should stop using force, and they should stop that rat behavior, destroying. You have to build. You don't have to destroy.
But they said their hands are tied. These people have known or should have known through notices that they shouldn't develop this thing. Yet they went ahead and developed.
Those are just pretexts.
Physical planning development regulations. There must be judicial mediation. In other words, before you demolish property, you must go to court and get a court order to demolish. That is what their own notices will tell you. But no, these are protecting themselves, not protecting government interests. The people involved are protecting themselves. They're hiding their own wrongdoing.
You mean the people from these 6 physical plants? Because they are directly dealing with it.
Yes, exactly. One, there must be judicial mediation, so go to court first. You can just imagine, even if the police arrest you, they don't just go and lock you up at mile 2, they take you to court. Even if they know you did it. Yes. They go through the process. The police are not mandated to just arrest you and send you to mile 2, and say you spend 5 years here. There is a reason why this happens, because you want to make sure that everything comes out. People know the truth. Yes, a wrongdoer can accuse you, punish you, just so that he covers himself up. The kind of things that happen at Salaji are just unbelievable. Yes, they are just unbelievable. They had no court authority to do this. And there must be court authority before you can demolish. Their own notices said that. They'll tell you if you do not comply, we'll take you to court. But here they didn't take anybody to court. They just went and demolished because they're hiding something. That something is what I want the government to uncover. And that is why I'm saying the president should set up a commission. That is leadership. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think, Professor, we move on to the. You have to think what you want to.
Yeah, the articles.
Yeah. Yes. We move on. You have been hibernating, like I said, dealing with national dialogue matters. You wrote extensively about how the concept of national dialogue is now being changed. From its you said, according to you, from its lofty ideas now to become politicized or political agenda. What do you mean by this?
Yes, national dialogue, the idea of national dialogue is beautiful. It is one of the ideas that we have suggested, as things that we are supposed to do, for national cohesion. And then, when we came, yes, he initiated it. Yes. And then, personally, I've been, I'm one of the, first political leaders who organized that in this country in 2019. I organized a national dialogue whereby political parties were there, many political leaders, people like Funding Tal, from UDP, Dr. Mr. Amul Nyasi, and other CSOs, they were there, and then we discussed about national matter, and we have that on record. Okay, just to say that we've been promoting national dialogue, but national dialogue also is not in the manner in which we see it right now. This is why the first edition was in year before last. That was 2023. That was the first edition in Banjul, where
the one initiated by the president.
Yeah, the one initiated by the president.
Yeah, political parties.
Where you had many participations, including top political leaders in the country, Khalifa Saleh, Honorable Khalifa Saleh.
Yes.
UDP also was represented.
Yeah.
And many other political parties, because it was the beginning where we had to set the rules on how to go by. But coming to this one, the last edition, that was the one that
during the independence time.
During the independence time. This time around, political leaders were not given the opportunity to speak, rather than they just came up with their themes, which they imposed to the people, and then they say what they wanted. They organize it in a forum sort of, instead of a dialogue. In fact, it was a monologue. This is what I call a monologue instead of a dialogue. Monologue is discussing with yourself. You know, a dialogue is discussing with people. You know, allowing people's opinion. You know, listening to people, because like as political leaders, they have thousands of people who are behind them. You know, whenever they speak, they listen to them. Whenever they advise, they heed to those advice. So this is why you have to involve them the way that you are supposed to involve them. So the last edition, you didn't see Honorable Halifa Saleh, you didn't see Honorable Mama Kande, you didn't see UDP. So most of them didn't go.
You mean they feel that it is not properly done? Or
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot confirm whether that's exactly the reason why they did not come. But in my opinion, you know, it could be as a result of that, of not trying to, you know, involve them, you know, the way they were supposed to be involved. So that was some of the things that I have highlighted, but also about like the setup, the way they organize it, being a propaganda tool for the government, printing T-shirts, printing documents, you know, to be given to the public, pamphlets, emphasizing the president's achievements, etc. So that's.
Or you mean they printed paraphilias and you know, promoting the president,
promoting the president's agenda.
You think that they are politicized?
Yes. So that should be out of it.
That shouldn't have been in a national dialogue.
Yes, that shouldn't have been in a national dialogue.
Could it be that is what put off these prominent political leaders you're talking about?
Yeah, possibly. If it continues, it's gonna die down.
So you mean if they continue to approach it by coming with propaganda for the president,
yes,
the other political parties leaders would be put off.
They
would not take it as national
without involving political parties in key decisions. As well also could hinder that
national dialogue.
That national dialogue. Yeah. So also, I think if published also recently one of the articles.
Yes, that's right.
Concerning the
the academic. This one is academia.
Yeah. Yes. A composite language.
Yes, composite language. Mr. Darboe must have easy. It is, but this could also become a legal problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that is the government through its technicians, the Ministry of Education and other things, have come up now to use a national language to teach the children, as others. It's been said that they adopted Wolof, and in fact they're using the Senegalese model, Senegalese Wolof, so to speak, in implementing this. Well, of course, it has been much talk about that there is a need for children to first start learning in their own language, or in a language that is widely spoken in a given community. That gives advantage to to them to be able to learn faster, and they argued efficiently, than probably coming directly and doing the instruction in English. I mean, studies, they said, have discovered that this is more effective in achieving faster and more efficient learning for the children. The Gambia embraced this idea, but then the controversy is they adopted Wolof. I have seen arguments in the newspapers and other places saying that, well, why Wolof in the first place? People believe that Wolof may be not the minority, not the majority. People said it could have been Mandinka or Fula. Some said there are already Mandinka lithography, if you like, and Fula lithography or letters, that have been established by the non-formal education, as well as WEC mission, that German Evangelical Crusade mission, all have started something on Mandinka and Fula something. So people also said the Wolof that they've adopted is Senegalese Wolof. It might be different from Gambian Wolof. You've been in the academic field. I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah, this is a subject of interest because I've written an extensive article about this, which was published on the Standard last week.
Yes,
it's like each country should have an identity, a national identity, and the national identity of the Gambia in terms of language, the widely most spoken language in this country is Mandinka. Okay, so now, like when you take Wolof, for example, Wolof is a language originated from Senegal.
Well,
yes.
Let's say there are more of them speaking them in Senegal.
But it's originated from there. From Jolof.
Okay, Jolof. Yeah.
Okay, the Gambia, we have Wolofs here, but mainly in the northern part of the country. That's where
the North Bank region.
The
Badiboos
North Bank. And taking the North Bank
the Badiboo
towards the Salums, towards Salum. It is almost the same language that they speak, and most of them they speak what we call Fana. That's also another type of Wolof, which is not even common, very very common within our society here. So most of the Wolof that we speak, it is Senegalese Wolof. Okay. It is dominated by Senegalese Wolof because of we do watch their televisions.
Yes.
We listen to their music.
You are said
we have
it's common now for you to see Gambian DJs said ñaati simili mo des ñenenti simili mo des.
Yes.
That is not Gambian.
So
you are right.
Because of that influence, because of that acculturation, because of that assimilation, we speak, the Wolof that we speak is mostly made of Senegalese Wolof. And also, the Wolof.
So maybe the officials are right. They are not in the Senegalese.
No, but there is still a problem. Because why there is a problem is that, like, the whole issue why this thing came up is intellectuals, like people like Ngui Wachongo, Kenyan writer, Sir Anta Job, they wrote extensively about this. They've developed the theory that when children are taught in their own language, that's the time that they could understand better, effectively. And Nelson Mandela also once said that if you talk to a person in a language that he understands, it goes to his head. But if you talk to him in a language that in his own language, it goes to his heart. So you see, there is an importance attached to teaching language, since at infancy. But in this case now, like the Gambia, if you like, Mandinka is the widely spoken language in the country. Everybody almost speaks Mandinka.
Well, not everybody, but most
widely. So, and then even those who like the Fulani community, the Sarahule community, sometimes they do what we call in linguistic code switching. They move from their language to speak in Mandinka.
Yes.
Even yesterday I was with some Sarahules playing football at night, late at night at Wellingara. You'll hear, and then from time to time, they code switch to Mandinka.
You are right.
So it means this is the national language. So now for me, what I'm proposing is a composite language. Instead of using one language, but a composite language based on the Mandinka language. A composite language is a different types of languages, that are put together. It is just like an artificial language.
Wouldn't that be more complicated?
No, it is not. You cannot just jump one day. You want to realize something. There are studies that needs to be done. There are links in this country. There are academics, in this country. There are teachers. There are people who have this experience that they are supposed to involve. You cannot just jump one day and then you want to implement this. English. The reason why English is the international the official language of the world. It is because there is a need for the whole world to use one language in business, in economics.
Perhaps that has to do with the expansion of the British Empire.
Yes, that's also
that's what led to it.
Yeah, that's also part of it. But also that thanks to the influence of the people, the countries like United States, who are influential both militarily, economic wise, and also security wise. So those are some of the arguments, you know.
So you believe that it should have been Mandinka?
Yes.
What do you mean?
No, the composite language.
The composite language.
For example, you know, the title of my article, The Gambia, 2 points. Kang ban foto den teach feel like your life.
Can you say that again?
You know, it like the Gambia. Kang ban.
Kambang.
Kang. Yeah.
That's Mandinka.
That's Mandinka. Ban.
Bang. What's it?
Ban.
Kambang.
Wolof. Ban. Ban.
Ban. What?
Kang. Kang. Ban. Foto den.
What's that? Fula.
Should we?
Should we?
Yeah, in Fula.
Kang bang foto den.
Teach. That's what?
That's English.
Yeah. Fi.
That's
Arabic. In.
That's in.
Yeah. Lekolai.
It's French.
École is French. Plus also the Jola.
So
Jola word for.
Can you say this in English now? What do you mean by it?
Yeah. The Gambia. Which language should we teach in our schools?
I see.
So this is
a composite language.
Yeah, this is
you said this in 4 languages.
7 languages.
In 7 languages.
Yes, and those are the languages that are mostly present in our country.
So you mean there should be a methodology that will infuse all these languages, then we use that?
Yeah, based on Mandinka, because there are certain words that we have in common. For example, like if you take,
but that all languages spell.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you say, well, that's happened in other states. Like we would say Taliban, even the Mandinkas will say Tajaban.
Yes.
But that's Wolof.
Yeah, and that one is.
And you say Salibo. Everybody says Salibo. Even the Aku say Salibo.
Yes.
But that's Mandinka.
Exactly. So there
you mean those kind of things?
There are certain words that we have in common that they would able to use together. You know, here we have the influence of Arab, French, and English in all our local languages, and also the Arabic aspect. That is when you talk about religion. Like, for example, if you take the word dunya,
it's Arabic.
It's Arabic word, but we use it.
Yeah, in Mandinka. They don't have any word for that.
We use it.
That's influence of Islam.
Yes, we use it
because it's almost Arabic language.
All the languages.
Yes.
So you can take many words.
Because Wolof Adunai comes from dunya.
Yes, but if you take Wolof, like the diction.
The Senegalese Wolof.
Yeah, the Senegalese Wolof, the vocabularies are not even the same sometimes.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, but like if you take
Gambian and Senegalese Wolof.
Yes, Gambian and Senegalese Wolof.
So you think we need an identity? And
yes, we need an identity.
We have to be separate from Senegal.
Yes, we need an identity based on Mandinka, the Mandinka language, where you invite other languages to come and support, to enrich the vocabulary, the grammar, you know, and the other aspects of language.
So you mean adopting Senegalese Wolof is only going to make us lose identity and make us more Senegalese than Gambia? I know you people deal with the law. I don't know what he's going to say about it. His deliberation is already cracking my brain. Yes. Okay.
No, I said.
Okay, you define everything. You want to reshape your comments on that. All right. Let's conclude now with the election bill. You are a politician. You are interested in that also. You heard about the election bill, the alleged refusal of the majority caucus to keep clause 14, which allows diasporans to be registered wherever they are, because obviously no law is stopping them from being registered. But what we're talking about in clause 14 is for the IEC to be able to reach them where they are and register them. Now, this was voted down by the majority of MPs belonging to the National People's Party and its allies, whereas the opposition, led by the UDP, or maybe mainly comprising only of UDP, wanted it to stay. It had sparked a debate. Government officials have come out to say, no, we are not against clause 14, but you know, it has to be comprehensive. The IEC must have the means, etc., etc. What do you make of it?
Yes, I will have to tell to the diasporans, massa, commiserations to them, because we owe big respect to them. They are holding our economy. Because of them, we are what we are today.
Yes.
So we should give them respect. We should also make sure that we give them their right, and they have a right to vote. Wolof says, "Pitching is ikaw, while hellbang is shoof." They are far away, but their minds are here. You know, their pockets. You know, we are feeling it through their pockets. We are feeling it through their communications. You know, sometimes they invite us to go and see what's happening, what's going on there. They have ideas going on around the world. You know, so this is why they should be part of those decision makings. So I think I just see it as a lack of political will. If there was a political will, if we have a government who embodies the spirit of the diaspora, they would have, you know,
They would be able to register that.
they would be able to make this thing possible.
Okay.
You know, so all that they are saying about the legal side, I would leave it to the legal expert. But there is a lack of political will.
Well, on the part of the government.
And on the part of the government. And here, it is only the government, you know, who could make this happen. For us as politicians, as political leaders, we can talk, we can promote, we can advocate. But if the government, you know, doesn't have the political will to give them that franchise, it cannot happen. And this is where I'm inviting the government, you know, to respect the diasporans.
Good. Yes, let's go for the final thoughts on this, and finally on the program.
Well, the Supreme Court decision in Bakar Bunja Darboe versus the ICAG is very clear. The diaspora has a right to vote, to participate in the politics of the country.
Yes.
And like he said, this is a lack of political will. Is it the president's position that he doesn't have enough support in the diaspora? Well, the diaspora is big.
But they have come to correct that. They said they are not afraid that, as the opposition assumed, that they are not willing because they know they will not have much votes there. They come to say that no. In fact, they believe they can win in the diaspora.
Well, if we say the diaspora, we're talking about Western Europe,
Yes.
the UK, America,
Yes.
that kind of stuff. But the diaspora is every country outside the Gambia. So that includes Senegal.
And the government is often accused of, being comfortable with bringing people or facilitating people from immediately in the neighborhood than people in the West that you're talking about.
Yes. But it's something that should happen. We are here. Every Senegalese election, don't we see them vote? Even in places like Gunju, they vote there. Yeah. So obviously, I don't see any reason why the government should resist this. Remember, we're talking about legacy here for the president. At the end of the day, this appointment of his is never meant to be permanent. Yes. An end will come to it eventually.
Yeah.
I hope it is a peaceful end, but an end will come to it.
Absolutely.
So concentrate on your legacy. Yes. Rather than these knee-jerk reactions about, I'm going to be losing this and that. You don't know. This is a secret vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah. You are not, you don't have support globally, but nobody dominates the diaspora.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have people supporting different political parties, different movements, different individuals, that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I say go for your legacy, allow this to happen. The idea that it is expensive cannot be afforded. Absolutely. That's not something you should go with.
They said this should be comprehensive, like, of course, the irony is that they brought clause 14 down. That was the first argument, because that would have allowed the IFC or whoever is organized, that will compel them to do something about it?
Well, clause 14, you bring it down. You do what you want to do. You have the numbers in the National Assembly. But you see, the KM Senabu Martin local government, you brought and installed Senabu Martin there by force, didn't you? Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court said you shouldn't do it. Yeah. The Supreme Court was the author of the decision in Bakar Bundiada. Yes. So it knows what is happening here. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if the government is challenged, there is no way it can win that lawsuit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lawyer Lamin J. Darboe and the Honorable Momodou Bah, academician and politician, thank you both for being on the brunch this week. Thank you for your insights, insightful deliberations on the topics we covered, and you over there for taking time to watch our program wherever you may be in the globe here. I'm Lamin Cham, wishing you have the remainder of a good Easter festival. We will be back next week perhaps when we are all refreshed from Easter for more brunch. Until then, have a good day.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Bruceby opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Agad.
Mbijan raganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. What's Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka. Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom Yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong labe ko.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni
baraka
ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.